Record. All right. So I have done this topic a couple of times before, or at least once on Team Bloom, I know, but it's just such a good reminder. So tonight we're talking about objections. So hearing no or hearing all the different reasons and excuses. And if you've invited at all, you've probably been, I used to say rejected, that's the wrong word, objected. Like you've probably been given some kind of reason why someone said no at some point. You can raise your hand if that's happened. Yeah. Like even if you like, yeah, it just happens. So I actually last minute I wanted to read a couple of things because I'm reading this book and it's actually not what I thought the book was going to be about. Like I thought it was going to be more mindset stuff, but it's still been a really good reminder, refresher for just kind of like new coach stuff. So I'll hold that for a second if you want to see it, get it. I actually got it off eBay for like $5 or $6. Anyways, but this chapter 7 is all about objections, and I was like, oh, this is what I'm doing the call on. So I'm going to read a little bit to kind of preface into how I deal with objections and what I do. So we don't want to be afraid of them. She says, don't fear objections, embrace them. Objections are a helpful way to move the conversation about your business forward when you treat them like requests for more information. And this was so perfect because I had not read this book, but I knew this already just from experience of doing it and practicing. So she said, I love objections for 4 reasons. Number 1, they invite a real conversation about the prospect, about the person, or the business, or whether it's going to be a good fit for them or not. Okay. It gives that conversation. It helps it go back and forth a little bit. They show it shows that the prospect is actually invested enough in the conversation to ask questions, which is good. Like, even if they're still going to say no right now, they're thinking about it, right? It begins the training process. And I hadn't really thought of this one, but she was saying if your objecting prospect joins your team, you'll have already shown her that the objections aren't an impediment to adding a team member, but simply part of the process. So if she tells you no, but then she ends up signing up, you can already be like, hey, look, here's how you deal with this. Plus, you've already started showing her how to respond to them. So like tonight, we're going to learn how to respond to them. I can put my PowerPoint later up or just jot some notes down, but it's pretty simple. Like, I think you'll get the hang of it. And then the 4th one is educating people about this business is so much fun. It can be if we have the right mindset. The most enlightening and authentic conversations come from exploring prospects' objections, finding out what's holding them back. And then a little bit more, I'm almost done, but there's still like, it's so good. The key though, when you get an objection, is to say positive and don't get defensive and don't go into convincing mode. And I've been there, I've done that. And honestly, some days you just feel like that. So sometimes I have to be careful. But we are sorting people. We're not convincing them. So we're just sorting them out. We're seeing if this is the right fit for them or not. We don't have to convince every single person that this has to be for them right now. Hang on, what was this one? Where did I start it at? So, and then the other thing she was saying is if the focus remains on being of service to them, because this whole book that she talks about is like, take the pressure off of them, tell them, I don't know if this is a fit for you or not. Like, this could be a whole nother call. Maybe I'll do it next week. But if you keep that focus of serving them and their needs right now, you're not going to be stressed about trying to get them to sign up or why they're saying no, and you're not going to take it personal. And you're also going to stay relaxed and real and authentic. And she also says efficient, which I liked, and helpful. And that's going to keep it open for them to eventually come back to you. So one other thing she said was people often don't really understand what they're objecting to, which I hadn't thought about that either. Or a lot of times it's like they have an incorrect assumption, like they just think it's whatever. And so the answer to your clarifying question, which we're going to talk about how to end it with a question, is going to give you more information to ultimately help them what they're really thinking, because there's usually a deeper meaning behind that objection. So I am going to share my screen every single time. Like, how do I do that? It's the big green letters, Heidi. And it's right here. All right. It's over here. Okay. I don't pay for this stuff. All right. So on the one side in the box, okay, there we go. I just came up with a lot of like potential objections that I've heard that can be said. And then each of these slides, I'm going to say kind of an example of an objection, and then a way that I reply to that. So again, it's kind of like, if you need ideas with that, it's really great to jot them down or put them in your phone. But this one is like so common. Thanks for thinking of me, but no thanks. And it's like, okay. And normally when I was a newer coach, I'd be like, okay, no worries. Like, and that's it. But it turns out that I've lost a lot of people that way, because pretty much everybody says no the first time, the second time, the third time. It takes quite a few times to where they're ready. And it's not because necessarily that you're nagging them. It's just they're not ready yet. And so on each of these, you're going to reply with a question. We want to find out something about them. So I say this all the time now. I don't always say girl. It depends on the person. Lady, mama, whatever. Of course, girl, no worries. Do you already have a fitness routine that you love then? And I say that quite often. And actually, I've started putting that in my invite. I'll say, hey, like, sorry, this is a side note. I'm going to jump all over the place. But I'll be like, hey, I wasn't sure if you already had your own workout thing going, but do you want info for my group, kind of thing. And that's been my favorite invite lately, and it seems to work better because it does take the pressure off, because then they can be like, no, I already have something going. And then I'm like, oh, cool, what is it? Because sometimes they don't actually have an answer and they're just lying. And then you can kind of like catch them in it. Anyways, so I always find out if they have a routine already, because again, this is something that you can go back to anytime. I did it today with a lot of people, because some people, especially this year, a lot of people are like, no, I'm going to the gym. No, I have a personal trainer, blah, 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 blah. And then now the gym's closed. But they don't know to come to me unless I go ask them again and remind them a lot of times. And so I'll be like, hey, like, how are your workouts going at the gym? Sometimes they say great. Sometimes they're like, oh, my gym is shut down and I haven't worked out for 6 months and I don't know what to do. Perfect lead in for a new invite. There's all different ways, of course. But it's really important for you to know that. And then, of course, I don't discount them for saying that. If they do go to the gym or CrossFit or whatever, if they're still watching my stories and stuff, I can cycle back around. I don't have to send them a like flat out invite first. Just find out, like, are they still going there? How's it going? Because sometimes people, come in and out of a season and they need this. And we've used Emily as an example before with that. She's like perfect example, because she was CrossFit and she was a teacher. She got in with Shakeology and then she started staying home. She needed something, it just leads into that. I never you don't discount anybody because they might only need this for a certain season. You never know. So the next one, I don't have time right now. And sometimes this one can frustrate me because everybody's busy. But I'll just kind of empathize with them. I totally get it, Mama. I feel swamped with kids and homeschool and work right now. But this group gives me so much life and joy. So put some kind of spin on it. Like, why is this group helping you, even though you're super busy too? And we don't have to be a smart aleck about it. Like, yeah, I'm busy too. But put it back in their lap. Like, I get it. Like, I'm right there with you. Would you want me to check back next month when things calm down, some other time when you're ready? And I'm trying to think, most people when I ask this will be like, yeah, let me know when the next sale is, or keep me updated for the next group. It doesn't mean that they sign up the next group, but they're keeping that door open so that it's not like, please never invite me again. Hardly ever does that happen. Like, I think they're genuinely interested. They're just like not committed to like committing, if that makes sense. And again, like, keep track of these names, you know, however you track that. And that's like a whole nother call. It's just not my thing. That's okay. What part isn't appealing to you? Like the workouts or being in a group? Have you ever tried Beachbody programs before? You obviously don't have to say all of those things, but if you know the person a little, it just depends. But those are some ideas. And then sometimes they won't answer you back, or sometimes they'll say like, I hate groups, you know, or I like going to the gym because I like to be away from my kids, or whatever. Sometimes you'll find out that they've been a Beachbody customer before and they did not get the support they needed, or something like that. Like, there's so many things that you can find out from this very basic objection. So come up with a question or a couple questions and find out more. Again, with no attachment that you're trying to convince them. Just be a genuine person. I'm trying to go fast if you can't tell. If it's too fast, just tell me. I can't afford it. This one is our favorite. And I've heard this a lot of times this week, actually. Or I'll say another one in a second, actually. But I have learned, and I actually heard this on Jessica's Dare to Dream call on Monday too. It was a guy named Simon Chan. He's like, I don't know. It was an amazing call. But he was like, he gave a really great example. He's like, everyone can afford it, like if they want to. Because he said, even the people, even low poverty people, I never heard someone like call this out so kind of toughly, but I was like, he's absolutely right. He's like, even people in poverty, he's like, who are the people that go to fast food the most? Or who are the people, even poverty people have cell phones, like smartphones and big screen TVs and Nike shoes. And, you know, and he started listing things like that. And I was like, he's right. He's like, so if you don't ask them, and of course here I'm going to like give examples of ideas. He's like, then someone else is going to take their money. They're going to give their money to something else, you know? And of course they might not see the value in it. What, you know, there's all those other things, but I just wanted to throw that in there because I was like, whoa, like no one's ever called that out so well. And he's totally right. Okay, back to this. I can't afford it. I would reply with something like, I totally understand, you know, and I'll explain something. I've been there. Like sometimes I say, I wouldn't have been able to afford this if I didn't have my coaching money, you know, or something like that. But I've learned to give them ideas because they're not thinking like, oh, I could save up for this. Or so here I've explained, I have a lot of clients that ask for this as a birthday gift, a Christmas gift. They use their tax refund, or this year we all got stimulus money. And this is the honest truth. I had somebody sell like an Apple Watch or like something that they didn't use anymore that was still worth value, sold it so they could pay and sign up. And I just basically say, like, if it's important to you, like, I believe in you, and I put a lot of like inspiration into them. I believe in you, and if you really want this, I know that you're going to find a way to do it. And it turns a lot of people off, I'll be honest, but I just see it as I'm planting the seed and I'm planting that idea for them to think about that. Because again, like most people don't think of like saving up for something that you want. I feel like our world is just not really like that anymore. Or this one, I'll say, how much do you think you could save back from each paycheck until you have it? You know, and I make it clear, like, even if it takes you 6 months, if this is really important to you, if you really want to do it, then do it. Save up $20. You know, most people have extra $20. Some people don't, but don't let that be an excuse for them but don't say it in a rude way. Build them up with ideas so that they can leave the conversation with like ideas. That's not the word I want, but I can't think. Okay, this one's fun. My husband won't let me, which I've also dealt with a lot of women having this. And so I will totally empathize with them, be on their side because I understand. Ugh, man, I've been there, girl. Do not give up. Keep asking him, because I've had a lot of girls be very defeated by this and just give up. And they really want it and they keep watching, and it breaks my heart. But I've learned to, again, like kind of give them ideas of how they can work around this and how other people, customers and coaches have signed up this way. Keep asking him. He'll come around eventually. Maybe you could ask for this again as a gift. Or sometimes I will ask, like, what's making him hesitate? I've had times where I've said, because again, they just don't think of the idea to show their husband. I'm like, have them go look at my page. I'm a real person. I'm a real person because you watch my story, but they think this is some scam. Or I'll say, show them that video link that I sent you, because I mean, it's pretty exciting. So sometimes I'll say that, but no matter what, do not let them leave as allowing that to be an excuse that's going to keep them from never ever signing up. And again, build them up with ideas of what they can do with that, if that makes sense. And sometimes people say, I already have a Beachbody coach, or I am a Beachbody coach. And again, I still reply with a question. That's so awesome. I love this company so much. What program are you doing? Okay, first of all, ask that, because some people say they're in Beachbody, but they're really not actively doing it. Or like, I had a girl the other day, side note here, who was a new follower. I said, hey, nice to meet you. Where are you from? And she said she was a Beachbody coach. She's been a coach for 4 years. And so then she was still chit-chatting, and then she was like, so what are you doing this weekend? I was like, oh, I'm doing the Super Saturday thing, And she was like, what's Super Saturday? And I'm like, aren't you a coach? Like, I feel like everyone knows that, right? And then I forget what else I said. Anyways, this is like a side silly story, but you never know, like, at what point they're at, or like how much of a coach they really are, or if their coach is even coaching anymore. So if they are doing a program, or I'll ask them how long they've been doing it for, when did they sign up? And I always ask them who their coach is, because sometimes it is someone they know, or it's a friend or something like that. Sometimes they have no idea, or their coach isn't coaching anymore. And we have a lot of challengers in our challenge group who I got this way, and it doesn't benefit me right away. But again, if we are here to serve, then it's going to benefit our group, because there are always people that they're hungry for support and they're not getting it. And so, and eventually, their bod's going to renew, or they're going to want to try Shakeology. Like, eventually it pays off. You don't always get Success Club points with everything. But I always ask their coach. And sometimes I know their coach and they don't like them, and so they can switch to you. And I'm not like trying to steal customers, but I'm very honest. Like, if your coach is not serving you and you don't feel like you're getting the support that you need, then they're not being a coach. And so then I think it's totally okay for them to switch. And ultimately it's their decision anyways. So it's not like I'm doing it for them anyways. So the bottom line is, if we know this is going to change your life, so this goes back to the confidence in what we're doing, in our products, in our workouts, and everything. If we know it's going to change your life, then we must speak with a voice of leadership and confidence, directing the conversation and showing them that we believe they make it happen, and instill the belief in themselves to take the next step. And so all of that, and like she said in the book, there's always a deeper reason. you know, and sometimes they don't even know really why they're objecting or what they're objecting to. They just might need more time to like really realize what this is. And the point is to not allow them to make the excuse. Like, don't let it be an excuse. Show them ways around it. Hand it right back to them with a positive solution, as if you'd never even heard them, and ask those questions. I think this is my last one, actually. I kind of think there was one more thing I wanted to share in here. Maybe not. Let me go back. Okay, there was like one more line in here. It's our job to explain why their concerns shouldn't keep them from starting a business of their own. Well, she's only talking about recruiting in this book, or signing up for a challenge group. So it's not annoying, and it's not us like being that person and being salesy. It's our job to, because why are we in this? We're still here, you know, like, why do you still love it? So if you care about them, and this is a hard mindset to like wrap around sometimes, but you like, the more you do it, and then the more people that you see are enjoying it and doing good, like, they're happy. And most people sign up and then they're like, why didn't I sign up sooner? And so if we're not there encouraging them and giving them ideas of how to make it happen, most of the time people are just scared, and they're afraid of failure. They're afraid of wasting money, you know, like all those things. I'm like, I have a few minutes. I still have other notes I could say. I think that was pretty good. I will say this. All we really need to focus on is planting that seed, is sending that invite, and then keeping the conversation super positive, no matter what. Even if you're not having a good day, just fake it, put all the smiley faces and exclamation points and everything like that. And stay positive, and don't let it bother you when they object, when they say no and give reasons and excuses. And I do have one example of a girl that I did let it get to me, and we had talked and talked and talked, and it was one of those people. I think I even sent her a share cart, and I'd sent her carts in the past. And finally I thought she was going to sign up, you know, and I'd given her so much information. Like, some people, you just answer a lot of questions. And then in the end, she was like, I don't need to pay for this. I'm going to do keto with my friend. It's free. And I mean, she said other things, and I was super upset. I can remember I was staying at my mom's during that, and I was like mad and everything, but I just like calmed down before I replied to her. And I just replied very short, and I was very kind, even though I didn't feel kind inside. But I was just like, basically like, you'll know where to find me, you know, I'll still be here, like, if you're ready. And it was literally like 2 or 3 months later. I don't remember if I checked in with her again. I might have. I don't remember that part. But she was like, I did keto and then gained the weight back. I'm ready to sign up. And she signed up with, you know, like a deluxe pack and beach bars and like everything. And it's just like, had I have said something nasty to her because I was so upset and just like going off of my feelings from that, then she probably wouldn't have come back. We probably never would have talked again. And she's since then been a consistent, like, she'll come back and get some Shakeology or something like that. So you have to leave it like it's not bothering you. Stay positive, stay confident in what you're doing, even if they don't see it yet. And I'm going to stop the recording.